Hello, I'm Chris Solo, and welcome to the Fabled 42, where we build community through friendship, gaming, and chaos. You are watching Quests and Answers, where we go on that quest to find your answers. And today we are talking about the Bounty Hunter class. And with me today, I have the very amazing Dianne Hall.
Hi everyone, my name's Dianne Hall. You can find me at the Pretty DM on Instagram, sometimes reposting Fable 42 stuff on Twitter. Most of the time, you can find me here on Fable 42, uh, streaming live on Mondays, Wednesdays, sometimes Fridays, and Saturdays, and
Amazing.
every other day in between. That's me.
Welcome, welcome. So, thank you so much for joining me today for this really quick
Yeah.
segment breakdown of the Blood Hunter class. So, for those of you who don't know, the Blood Hunter class was a supplement that the very awesome Matt Mercer had created. He had created it for his campaign 2. Well, he created it prior, but then they used it in campaign 2. Um, and for those of you who don't know, it doesn't matter. I don't have to say that. But so the Blood Hunter class in the beginning was not balanced. But
No.
I think over time it's still not balanced.
There's a new version and it's better.
Yes,
But
there is a new version and it is better. However, if when someone takes a class and they try to min max it and try to really optimize it, if you do that with the Blood Hunter class, you will be the best in your party, hands down, every time. It's pretty ridiculous if you know what you're doing, but there's a lot of fun flair and things that we'll talk about. I have played a blunter. Wow, that's a new class, guys. Blunter. I have played a Blood Hunter before, and I believe Diane has as
I
well.
have.
So let's talk about that. So let's talk about when you approached creating your Blood Hunter. What was your direction? Did you create your subclass first, and then the story around that?
I did. It was for a one shot. Um, and I knew I wanted to do Blood Hunters because it's always been appealing to me. First of all, blood is in the name, which immediately brought my attention to it. But beyond that, it is just like kind of cool, like using your own like blood to do cool things. So I found the Ghost Slayer. I think is the one that I played first,
Okay.
and my lady had like a near death experience that sort of opened her eyes to this whole nother world, and then brought her to the, the Ghost Slayer Order.
Hmm. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I felt like there was another new one that they came out with, but I don't see it in D&D Beyond. But yeah, I also played the Ghost Slayer. In my Wow, I wish I would have prepped that. I don't remember what most of my thing was, but it was something along the lines where this lich had killed my family, I think,
Mm.
and had killed me. But I had taken this
Oh
pact
yeah.
or something like that to kind of like Spawn, right, where you're kind of straddling both sides and you're wanting to go in a certain direction
Yeah.
or whatever. Um, and it was a fun thing to do, but and my DM let me do a lot of interesting things as well. So it was curious just to kind of see like what kind of flavor you could put into these characters. But now for everybody else out there, Diane, what is what's a good direction for someone else who's interested in playing a blood hunter? Do you think that there's a class that is better to go, a direction better to go? You know, we can start. We're going to
Um,
start breaking down some of the abilities too, because it's very complicated as well.
I'd say if you want to do Blood Hunter and you don't understand it, but you still want to do it, go with the Profane Soul because it's pretty much a warlock.
Yeah,
You take a patron, you get little spells just like the warlock, very limited spell slots and stuff, but it's very close to that. But you still get your like blood Maladex and
yeah,
your hemocraft dies, which I'm sure we'll get into here in just a second, which is
yeah,
what makes the blood hunter a blood hunter. um but I don't know, like the Order of the Lycan's pretty cool because then you get to be a werewolf.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's. I mean,
Werewolf. adjacent, I guess.
Arguably, though, if you pick Profane Soul, it's essentially like you're a Hexblade Warlock, but you are
No,
way
yeah.
better. You're
Yeah.
way better. Like it's
That's actually why
dumb.
I didn't play a Profane Soul, because when I first started building my first Blood Hunter, I was like, ooh, Profane Soul, like that sounds cool. But in my running campaign at the time, I had a Hexblade Warlock and I hated it. I hated DMing for a Hexblade Warlock.
It's hard.
And
It's
I was
hard.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be this, because it's essentially that I hate.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a very fine line of breaking the game or breaking the party, because like my experience
Yeah.
with blood hunters is, especially if parties don't really understand, like blood hunters are like there are certain classes that are really really good at low level and then kind of balance out, like OP at a low level and then balance out as time goes on, and there are some that are or balance in the beginning and become awesome at the end, like fighter, right? Like fighter at the end is ridiculous.
Oh, you
um
get like 4, potentially 5, maybe 6 attacks
Yeah, and
every
then
round.
God forbid you get boots of haste or something.
Yeah.
But blood hunters are definitely OP at early levels, definitely. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of party shade that you will get. So just be aware of that. But yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about what you were talking about with the blood maledict and all of that. Like in your own words, or in your best way to describe it, like what is that mechanic, and how is it so awesome?
Um, Blood Maledict, it's essentially taking your hit points and you're adding it to your weapon of choice, um, using like a blood curse. And you get like special, like different curses based on your level. You could have multiple curses as you level up.
Yeah.
But it's usually like fire damage. You can add fire, an extra dice of an extra D or die or whatever of fire damage or frost damage or necrotic damage. I think is eventually up there in
Yeah.
radiant as well. But um, yeah, so you take your own life to do more damage. So you could definitely hurt yourself. I think we all saw that in Critical Role.
Yeah.
But
And a lot of people didn't really realize that. And as an amazing player as Taliesin Jaffe is, and his complete knowledge of the game, I just think he didn't want to play a Blood Hunter anymore. But that's my personal opinion.
Maybe.
That is not official. But
But-
if anybody's like, for this thing that we're talking about, and it's too late. They're almost done with season 2, so spoilers are done. But essentially, what happened is he was going toe to toe with a Oni, right? An Oni mage, I think is what's his face ended up being.
I think so.
So when you light your blade on fire, you cut your hand or you cut your neck. You just flare for all sorts of ways, and we do not support people cutting themselves, obviously. But it's part of the mechanic of the game. Your weapon needs some blood, right? Some of your blood, and so Taliesin Jaffe did that, where he cut himself and he took the whatever the damage is, D4 of damage, or I can't remember what the damage is, but he took the damage and it brought.
Goes up as you level up.
That's right. That's right. So he took the damage, which brought him under 0, which means it was silly that he did that to do his thing, and he fell unconscious and then eventually no longer with us. But it stays down, so it reduces your maximum hit points by that right damage. Every time that you do it. If you have a very kind DM, they'll let you, especially if you dual wield, they'll let you do it once with both blades, opposed to 2 times, which is taking damage twice. But that also kind of breaks the mechanic a little bit. But I've seen people that the DM that I was playing with let me do that, because I was dual wielding, and as I pulled them both out, I tried to cut like the same spot and utilize the same wound and the same damage and the same blood to do my 2 different rights. But it's all flair, it's all flavor. Personal opinion, actually, I want to ask you, because you're DM and a blood hunter. Would you allow a blood hunter that is a ranged blood hunter cut himself with his bow to get the right damage on the bow, which then would translate to the arrows?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
you could definitely cut yourself on a bow. By the way.
That's fair. Well, because they let you pick fighting styles,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because you can do archery. Because who wouldn't take archery if you're going to be a dex-based fighter, right? Because you get a +2 to attack.
Yeah, for sure.
So why not, right? So yeah, I mean, I've gotten into long conversations with people about that, whether or not that is
Yeah, I would allow it.
the thing to go. Okay, but so let's talk a little bit more about blood hunters. So we've talked about the blood maledict, where no, that's not blood maledict, right? When you cut yourself, that's your crimson right. Blood
Oh
maledict
yeah.
is
Is
the curse.
the curse. Blood Maledict's the curse. There's curses you can add on. Like one of the curses is kind of like Hunter's Mark. Like you mark them and you can do like extra damage to that person
Yeah.
or
Do you have a favorite curse that you like to
favorite
pick?
curse.
Yeah.
What do I always pick? Always, always, always. I feel like I do always do the blood curse of the marked because I'm like extra dice of damage. I'm on board with that. I'm all about
Always
getting
want to
that
stack that
damage.
damage. Not every DM is like me, where I give you a bunch of silly things that do extra damage. So you wanna milk it out as you can. Um, it's funny because I played a blood hunter only to level like 3 or 4. I have not ever played it all the way through, just because the campaign that we were playing just
Yeah.
stopped. And there was another opportunity in Fabled where I was going to play a
The
blood hunter, and I can't remember
the
when.
one shot I played where I first played a blood hunter, I think I was level 6 or 8. And then in Taryn's game, I'm a blood hunter and I was level 4.
Got it.
But also you can amplify blood curses.
Yeah, that's what I was actually just looking at now, because some of these amplifications and these curses are like high level stuff where it like really
Yeah, you have to be like
yeah,
prerequisites.
and it's kind of fun too. Excuse me, because how you were talking about it and how I was talking about it. I think Mercer's gone back a few times and has really like combed through it and groomed it to kind of balance it out throughout the the entire your entire campaign. So you had talked about we've talked about Ghost Slayer. I was a big fan of that. We've talked a little bit about Profane Soul. Let's talk about the other two deals. We have Lycan, and then we have Mutant. And we'll save
My,
Mutant for the end, but Lycan.
well, okay. I've never played the Lycan one, but I am currently my most recent blood hunter is the Mutant, and I enjoyed it. But...
Got it. I've played the Lycan, and I've played with someone who was playing the Lycan. So Eddie was playing a Lycan Ghost Slayer in Jason's Fables of Ugador campaign, which was an interesting mechanic because Kilu, my Moon Druid Barbarian Goliath, also had a very similar mechanic, which ended up playing where the two gladiators were just duking it out. Where when I'm raging, I need someone to be like, hey, the moon's going down, whatever, and try to calm me down like they did to the Hulk. But not necessarily the same thing, but like when I'm raging, right? So if I've killed all the enemies and there's no other enemies left, I'm going to hit somebody else. Mm-hmm. So the Lycan has that interesting mechanic, and I was trying to find it and I couldn't, but it's in here somewhere where it's anytime that you make an attack, you have to make a save. Oh yeah. So if you Bloodlust. So if you begin your turn with no more than half of your maximum hit points, you must succeed a Wisdom save or move directly towards the nearest creature and attack it. So it kind of lets you tap into that animalistic nature, which is kind of a cool mechanic.
That's cool.
But it complicates things when things go bad. Because then
for sure.
you're this big ass werewolf that you're attacking your friends and different pools of dice, and we've talked about blood hunters not being kind and being a little OP sometimes. So like if you've stacked your blood hunter and you're a Lycan, and you turn on your party, that's a bad day. Um,
Yeah.
but that's really, I mean, other than that, it's a fun mechanic. It's got a lot of fun flair to it. But I would actually, I don't know anything about Order of the Mutant. I know I've looked at it a few times. I've never played it. So please tell me, like, why you chose it and some of the fun things that you've enjoyed about playing that
Um,
class.
the reason I chose the mutant was specifically because of the setting that I was given, and I thought it was really cool. And then I was like, oh, I haven't played the mutant, so let's go for it. I really liked it. It's kind of like being an alchemist. So you're like making like little potions to help you, but the potions that you take that help, like you can take a potion that like increases your dex or something,
Got
but
it.
that's going to decrease something else.
Okay.
It's a balance. It's like I'm gonna be really good in my strength here for a second until I cleanse, like detox myself.
Are these are the
Um,
mutagens that you're
mutagens, yeah.
mutagens? Yes.
Um, and I really liked it. I liked just like the flavor of like having my little bottles and so maybe kind of close to an artificer,
Oh, okay. Okay. That's I like that. I like
you
that
know?
that direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and you still get the blood maledict stuff too,
Hmm.
right? So you still can curse people, and then you can
Oh
like
yeah.
do the mutant stuff to it.
Yeah.
So you're not actually a mutant yourself, but you
Yeah, I mean like you are taking on like mutant abilities
because you're drinking the potion.
because yeah, you're subjecting yourself to mutant abilities. So I think you could definitely flavor it to where you're more mutant,
Yeah.
if your DM is on board with that. Um,
Yeah, some of these pros and cons are kind of fun. Like looking at
yeah.
the Vermilion and the one on the bottom, where you can use your Blood Maledict feature again. So if like situational, you want to
Oh
use it
yeah.
again, but then
I
now you
used
have
that.
disadvantage on saving
Oh
throws,
yeah. I
death
used it
saving
and
throws. Yeah,
I'm real glad I didn't have to do no death saving
because
throws.
damn, that would suck. Like
Yeah.
so if yeah, I mean that's really cool because like you know um I mean, but some of these side effects are brutal. Like, why would you take bludgeoning? I mean, I guess if you're fighting something that only does bludgeoning damage, um, but everything could always do
Yeah.
other things. So, like, if your DM is being tactful enough, like you're fighting an ogre that is hitting you with a sledgehammer, and
Yeah.
it's not doing as much damage, but then he might backhand you with his claw and do slashing damage, or poke at you with a
Yeah.
stick or something, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're like, ah, I just took too much damage. So it's kind of a fun
Yeah.
flavor thing, if you're going straight for wow, some of these are really crazy.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, it's a fun mechanic. It's a really fun mechanic. So I like that.
Yeah,
It's a
and
twisted artificer.
it's very situational too, so you really have to kind of wait for the moment to take your your mutagen thing because obviously what's like one I think increases like your charisma or something, but obviously if you're just going into combat, like your charisma is not really probably not going to get you far.
Got it.
And then if you're taking one that's like giving you resistant to slashing damage, but you're going into a party, um,
Got
it's
it.
probably useless. And then you have to like, detox yourself and you can't use it again until the next day or I don't know, but
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
so you have to be smart
And you can
about
only
it.
create a couple at a time, right? You can only have
Yeah,
like one at a
exactly.
time initially, and then it goes up as you level or something, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
Yeah, you can use this feature, Exalted Mutation. Use this feature times equal to your intelligence modifier. So, I mean, you have a good amount of times you can use it depending on your
Got it.
stats.
Got it. Well, that's really awesome. We've kind of dove into the Blood Hunter class a little bit. And so, in 30 seconds, what is your favorite subclass and why?
I'm going with the Order of the Mutant because that's the one I'm playing and I really liked my character.
Awesome. Well, this is Dianne Hall. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at the Pretty DM on Instagram and sometimes Twitter. And you can find me here on Fable 42, streaming live on Twitch Mondays, Wednesdays, sometimes Fridays, and Saturdays.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming here. And
And
again,
thank you.
you're most welcome. And I am Chris Solo. You can find me at DM Chris Solo on all the social medias. And again, this is Quests and Answers, where we go on the quest to find your answers. We'll see you guys next time.